Welcome to the CNY Wrestles Podcast. Here's your host, Mike Jones Billity.
It is 11 degrees outside today, Syracuse. It's Monday, January 21st. This is the CNY Wrestles Podcast. Tonight we're going to be talking about a couple different things. One, All Elite Wrestling. We promised we talked about it last time on the show. All Elite is legit. We know Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Hangman Adam Page, Chris Jericho, the former Neville, who's now known as Pac, Dr. Britt Baker, and Joey Janela. And we know Billy Gunn is a producer. There's a lot taking shape in All Elite Wrestling, and it's a good time to talk about it as the WWE has promised change is coming to the product. And so far, not a lot of change has been seen on the WWE horizon. They promised this. The McMahons took over. They got rid of the general managers. And they've been promising all this change, but not much has been changing. The storylines have all been the same. The wrestlers have been getting the same attention. The Revival has been getting buried on TV still. The best tag team probably in the business right now, and they're getting treated like a bunch of jobbers. So it's hard to say what's going to happen in WWE anytime soon with All Elite forming all around them. And this Sunday is the Royal Rumble, typically the time of year when the WWE starts to pick up and the storylines start to gel toward WrestleMania. It is the kickoff to WrestleMania. So we're hoping that the change that's been promised is coming and coming soon. So All Elite Wrestling, let's start there. Let's talk about that. They had this rally in Jacksonville, Florida a couple weeks ago. They rang in the new year, getting some great attention for themselves. My biggest thing with All Elite Wrestling is they're saying that they're all about the fans. They want to give the fans what they want. And that's all good and well if they can deliver, but they have to remember that not all fans want the same thing. You're not going to find 100% of fans that agree on every single thing. So it's a mistake if they think that what they're providing is what their fan base wants. Yeah, the vocal majority might want something, and that's all well and good because they're screaming and cheering, but that doesn't mean every single fan you're trying to get is going to watch your TV product once you establish your TV product on a major cable network. So you can literally compete with the WWE. Without a TV deal, you're not going to reach the fans that you want to reach. So it's hard to say exactly what the fans want because the fans are a diverse dynamic. I might not like what you like. You might not like what I like. It's hard to say. So to say you want to give the fans what they want, it's good lip service, but it's not practical because not every fan enjoys the same wrestlers or the same storylines or even the same promotion. So it's hard to say what the fans want when you haven't given us anything yet. You gave us some names, big names like Jericho. Granted, I will tune in to see what Jericho does in All Elite Wrestling, but that's not going to keep me there. Unless he's got good storylines, unless he's got good angles built in, good opponents to play off of. And that's the big thing with Chris Jericho, especially at this stage of his career. He's a little older, still popular. I wouldn't say he's Steve Austin or The Rock popular. He's certainly not somebody that WWE would build around their brand, build their brand around, I should say. He's a big star, yeah. Everybody knows who he is, but he's not like a Hulk Hogan or a Rock or Cena or Austin. He's not a household name. Maybe with wrestling fans, yes, but not the mainstream audience. So it's hard to say that they have what the fans want at this point because we haven't seen anything yet. We know Tony Khan, who is part of the Jacksonville Jaguars organization, is going to be running the creative. And, he hasn't been, he's a wrestling fan. He hasn't exactly been involved in creative in a wrestling promotion before. Not to say that he can't do it. He is a fan. He's been a lifelong fan. So we're hoping that him being a lifelong fan, him having the money to put into this promotion, will actually generate a fan favorite promotion. And it's going to be hard for them to compete with WWE at first. And I think it would be a mistake for them to try to come out swinging, try to be number one from the very get-go. They have to build their brand. They have to build their talent. They have to build their storylines. They have to build their creative. They have to build their exposure. It's going to be hard to come out swinging. I think they need to build it slowly. Some of the problem with WCW was they came out swinging. They wanted to compete, and they couldn't maintain it, and they fizzled out, and they got bought out by the WWE. So if you build things slowly, let fans kind of get the word of mouth from other fans who are watching it, let them latch on to All Elite Wrestling slowly, then you're probably going to go a lot further toward competing with the WWE. So, is the market right now oversaturated with wrestling? Sure. If you think about it, look how many brands there are right now. WWE, NXT, yeah, I know they're the same, but they're different shows. You got Raw, you got SmackDown, you got 205 Live, you have Ring of Honor, New Japan, Women of Wrestling is now on Access TV with Tessa Blanchard. You have All Elite coming. Granted, we don't know where they're going to end up on cable TV, but we know they'll get there because they got the money to get there. But I think it would be a mistake for them to try to compete with WWE right out of the box. If I were running things in All Elite Wrestling and they got a deal with TV, even though their stars are known by wrestling fans, I wouldn't say they're known by a majority of wrestling fans. I know who Cody Rhodes is. I know who the Young Bucks are. But if you're dealing with just WWE fans, they might not know who the Young Bucks are. They might not know who Hangman Adam Page is, or Kenny Omega even, especially since he wrestles mostly out of the country. You have to build things like a prison movie almost. So you have this young, naive person going to prison for the first time. They've never been there. They committed a stupid crime. They made a mistake. You have to treat it like people are watching somebody naive and gullible and kind of an underdog going into this prison yard for the first time. Build up the characters. Build up the alliances. You have to build up your main villain and your main baby face. You have to do it slowly, almost like a prison movie, like I said. Like, you have this guy going into prison, and there's the big dog who wants to break him, make him part of his team, but of course he doesn't want to do that. He makes alliances with other people, and of course it starts a prison war. So now you got your villains and your baby faces established. We know where everybody stands. You have to build it kind of slowly toward that. Yeah, you have stars like Jericho and Cody Rhodes, who the fans know, but you have to assume that not all the fans that are starting to watch All Elite Wrestling are going to know who they are. You're going to get some new fans who might not be familiar, so you have to establish everybody. Treat everybody like a TV pilot. Nobody, like, let's say you're watching a pilot of a show last week that started, The Passage on Fox. Nobody knows the characters. You know the actors, but you don't know how they're going to be in this promotion. So you have to introduce everybody, break everybody into All Elite Wrestling on your first show. This way we know your athletic style, your pro wrestling entertainment style. We don't know anything about All Elite Wrestling and how it's going to turn out. So we going in, we all have to go in together, finding out who these characters are, who they're going to be in this promotion. You can't treat it based on, people know us from before. Yeah, we might, but not everybody does. And that's what I would do with any new wrestling promotion. You have to build it slowly. You have to have characters that are consistent. They can't be heel one week and babyface the next week, like the Big Show in WWE. Like one week you don't know who he's going to be, and then the week after he's completely different. So you can't flip-flop like that. You have to build it slowly, establish it. You can't keep changing characters. Because one, the audience is going to get confused. They're not going to know who to cheer for, who to boo for. And then they're going to be, they're just going to tune out because they're confused and they don't know. And they've lost interest altogether, which is what's happening in WWE. People are losing interest in wrestlers because they don't know where they stand anymore. There's too many turns, quick turns. And it's hard to keep them straight. Like Becky Lynch was a heel, then fans liked her, so they got behind her again. And now it's like a mishmash of are we supposed to be booing or cheering her? And people are actually, I think, starting to lose interest in Becky Lynch. If you ask me, if you go by the reaction she's getting on TV, I might be wrong. I'm not saying this is just my opinion, but I think Becky's losing steam. Charlotte is losing steam because she bounces back, face heel, face heel, face heel. Now nobody knows what to think of her, and they lose interest. And that's hard for a wrestling company, I imagine, to keep the audiences engaged when the audiences don't know how they're supposed to be engaged. So I think All Elite Wrestling has a unique challenge. They're going to start from scratch, but I think they really need to start from scratch. They can't just jump in. So as long as All Elite Wrestling kind of reintroduces us to the world of wrestling in their world, their scope of what they want their wrestling show to be, I think they're going to have a great show. But we'll see if they learn from WCW's mistakes. We'll see if they learn from WWE's mistakes. It's going to be interesting to watch going forward. And I can't say I'm excited to watch Hangman Adam Page go one-on-one with Pac, just because I think their exchange at the rally in Jacksonville was just not where I think they wanted it to be. I mean, even at the end, Pac left the stage and Hangman Adam Page was left with the microphone, and he said, if that was a challenge, I accept. Even he didn't know it was a challenge. If Hangman Adam Page doesn't know that was a clear challenge from Pac, how are the fans supposed to know that was a clear challenge? See that? It's easy for people like us to sit and watch and nitpick and critique, but it's hard. I imagine it's hard for promoters to book and create storylines with wrestlers, especially because you don't know what their acting ability is. You don't know what they're comfortable with doing. You don't know what wrestlers they don't want to wrestle or the ones they will wrestle. So I imagine it's hard, but if you truly want to give the fans what they want, you have to listen to the reactions the wrestlers are getting. And I think the reaction between the exchange between Pac and Hangman Adam Page kind of wasn't what they were hoping it would be. They got a huge reaction for Jericho, but I think it could have been a bigger surprise if it wasn't being rumored that he was going to sign for like months beforehand. So they have to kind of tone down their spoilers and their reveals, and make sure that those surprises are being guarded. Because like anything else, like even in the WWE, when somebody knows somebody's debuting or returning, it kind of takes the element of surprise away. And if there's no element of surprise, then that kind of takes a little bit away from the storytelling of WWE and professional wrestling as we know it. I mean, if you think about it, for years, WCW on Nitro was giving us surprise after surprise.